Tough for LSU. The 1-2. Lifted down the left field line, and that ball is gone. A 3-run home run. A pinch hit. 3-run home run for Hayden Travinski. And LSU is back in front 7-6.
Travinski absolutely destroyed this baseball and knew it right away. Hello and welcome into Tigers Roar. I am Jonathan Poche, joined as always by the Bud Man, Buddy Songy, here at Old School Barbecue, ready to bring you another edition of Tigers Roar. Don't forget, check out our YouTube page at youtube.com/Pelican Broadcasting. If you miss anything in this episode or any episodes in the past, go to our YouTube page, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and you can certainly find everything you want to know about Tigers Roar right there on our YouTube page. A big weekend for LSU baseball, sweeping the defending national champion Ole Miss Rebels in Oxford. It was a big weekend in Oxford. Morgan Wallen also had a concert out there. Had to cancel the Sunday show. A lot of people upset about that, but LSU fans who made the trip certainly excited about the sweep. Coach Jay Johnson, you saw in the intro, touching the right buttons, has his finger on the pulse of the team. Pinch hit Hayden Travinski with 2 outs in the top of the ninth. 3-run bomb to give LSU the lead, and then Gavin Guidry closes the door. It was a great weekend for the baseball team. Softball's also rolling. LSU had their spring football game, well, sort of a spring game on Saturday. We'll have some press conference tape from Coach Brian Kelly. Also have a little B-roll, some highlights from that spring game. Also let you guys hear from Coach Jay Johnson and their sweep of the Ole Miss Rebels. But we bring in the Bud Man. Great to see you, Bud Man.
Good to see you donning the hat. You know, I have to wear the hat every week to cover this ugly hair, but JP going with the hat. No reason to put your sunglasses on, Tiger fans.
That's right.
It is a good time to be a Tiger fan. And even when mistakes are made, LSU is overcoming them. Javen Coleman was extended, I thought, a little bit. They had not used up the bullpen. Of course,
right.
Coach Johnson, we know that you are 32-7, number one for 13 consecutive weeks, but you've got only one inning under your belt with Javen Coleman, and so
right.
They wanted to get him 30 pitches. They extended him. He gives up 2 runs in the 8th, and Travinski with the clutch. And this is one of the keys to this LSU baseball team, JP. Travinski, Milazzo, other guys that have had to sit and wait. Yep. They're not cancers, and they're not making the locker room spicy.
Right.
They have all patiently waited their turn. And had Ben McDonald on the show. He's never seen anything like it. By the way, in case you missed it, Chase Shores tweeted out today he is done for the year. Caleb Appleby, a big junior college kid, 6'7", 240-something. Grant Taylor, who was going to be the number 2. Obviously, Garrett Edwards, he'll be the next one to tweet out. And Jaden Newt, another big-time 6'4", 235-pound righty, California. 5 big-time pitchers.
Yeah.
All out for the year, just getting back nasty Nate Ackenhausen and just getting back Coleman. But look, if they had lost the game, Jay Johnson would have said, well, I'm trying to learn something. Right now, folks, they are trying to see who they can lean on in the latter part of the innings. But when it rains, it pours, and it's always tough to defend. Ole Miss, 3 conference wins. And they're finding ways to win, to lose games.
Yep.
LSU is finding ways to win games. But that was sweet because the folks in my age bracket, north of 60, we grew up and we talked about Ole Miss. It was not very seldom when you didn't hear somebody say, go to hell, Ole Miss.
Right.
And those were the days when you told somebody to go to hell, that meant something.
Right. It had been the first time LSU swept Ole Miss in baseball since 1996 in Oxford, so that's a big deal for Coach Jay Johnson's team. Got to give a shout-out to Ty Floyd, who went his longest outing in his career for LSU, 8 1/3, 112 pitches, but still in the high 90s right till the end there.
96 at the end.
I mean,
that's
incredible.
impressive.
Yeah, it's incredible. And that really gives you confidence moving forward that he's going to be a solid number 2 behind Skeens. Sitting here right now, it's hard not to have LSU the favorites to win it all with the best lineup in the country, the best player in the country in Dylan Cruz, a guy that's hitting almost 500 at this point of the year. People don't understand. I mean, the guy goes 2 for 4, and his average kind of dips a little bit. He's going to have to go 3 for 4 the rest of the year to get about that 500 mark. But look, if he gets really hot, he doesn't miss many pitches. I mean, there's not a better baseball player, really, You can look through the pros and try to find a guy having a better year at the plate. It'd be tough to find a guy who's doing better than Dylan Cruz.
The only thing I'm going to step back a little bit is since they have had so many injuries. Now, look, we just talked about the pitchers. Gavin Dugas is playing on a gimpy shoulder, and he's about 70%. Brady Neal, the freshman catcher, has been out a couple, 3 weeks. He's coming back, but it's when we don't know, maybe a week or two. And Paxton Kling, the great freshman right fielder, had that weird hammy pull, high hamstring. They want to be careful with him. Lo and behold, those are position players that have been hurt. So I want to see, I certainly think it's a no-brainer they're going to make it to Omaha, winning a regional and a super regional. But right now, you got to get the breaks. You got to peak at the right time. But Dylan Cruz, to show you how good he is, 496, okay, 44 walks, and 9 hit by pitches. His on-base percentage is about 65% right now. Him and Paul Skeens are going to go 1-2, 1-3, 1-4, whatever. It'll be the first time in LSU history Tigers will have 2 picks in the top 5.
We'll take another quick break here on Tigers Roar. We come back, we'll talk some more LSU baseball. We'll let you guys hear from Coach Jay Johnson and a whole lot more. Don't go anywhere. You are watching Tigers Roar.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Visit Treads & Care Tire Company's new location on Hooper Road in Central. Locally owned for over 50 years, Treads & Care is known for quality automotive repair and top-notch customer service.
I'd like to invite you to come out and see us at our new location in Central.
You can't smell it, but you can almost taste it. And whether it's for a family get-together or a game day feast, having Manda in the mix always sounds good. For 3 generations, their quality meats and original seasonings have made Manda a Louisiana legend and made their family sausage Louisiana's family sausage. Manda Fine Meats. The flavor says it all.
The biggest sale of the year is happening right now during Happy Honda Days at Team Honda. For a limited time, make no payments for 90 days on every new Honda. That's right, you choose and make no payments for 90 days at Louisiana's #1 Honda dealer, Team Honda on Segan Lane.
Hey now, give it your best, put the broken lies to rest. Look up to the skies, I see desire in your eyes, but you can't keep it in your heart. 'Cause misery loves company. 'Cause misery loves company. Cold and hungry like a dog in the street. I get a raw deal every one.
And we continue on Tigers Roar, where guys, we come to you live from Old School Barbecue, 10655 Coursey Boulevard. We tape here almost each and every Tuesday around 4 o'clock. Great food, great place to watch a game. There's TVs all over the place. Great prices, old school prices, and homemade food. Come check it out at Old School Barbecue. Talking some LSU baseball, currently sitting at 32-7, 12-5 in the SEC. Just swept the defending national champions in the Ole Miss Rebels and Coach Mike Bianco. Let's talk about the series, but man, coming off of a loss, a midweek loss, to UL Lafayette, a team that threw their Friday night starter and their best closer against LSU. And I mean, why not? When you're a mid-major program, a Louisiana school going against LSU, you want to give it your best shot. But man, ULL certainly did that. And LSU drops that game 8-5, bounces back in a big way, sweeps Ole Miss.
And it's interesting. Scarborough, with our last Wednesday night show, LSU Tigers on Tiger Bait, got on one of his rants. It looked like I was getting kind of spicy, but that was their World Series. Of course, they proceeded to get swept. LSU proceeded to sweep.
Right.
And Skip Bertman used to always tell the listening audience on his radio show, I'm not worried about midweek games. By the way, LSU has lost to Tulane and ULL and other in-state schools before and won the national championship. So every now and then you need a little bump in the road. Look, we talked about Skeens and we talked about the great job that Ty Floyd did. Let's also throw out a tidbit to Christian Little. This was the longest he'd been extended for LSU. So he goes 5 1/3, and I think that we all love Gavin Guidry. He's got that dog in him. Bryce Collins has the best curveball on the team. Griffin Herring, where do you use him? He is an excellent lefty. And getting nasty Nate Ackenhausen, one of their better pitchers, and Javen Coleman slowly getting him back. So LSU doing well. The roles are all falling into place. As we know, hell of a lineup when Gavin Dugas gets healthy. Man, him leading off, Trey Morgan 2, Dylan Cruz 3, Tommy Tanks White 4. That's a load to handle. Oh, by the way, been inundated with people asking me about Tommy Tanks. They took him out, a little sore, lower leg injury. Probably going to rest him tonight. I'd like to see Travinsky get the start tonight. I think he deserves that. But bumps and bruises, and Tommy White is certainly leading LSU in home runs right now. But he's going to be fine. But they have had an inordinate amount of injuries this year, JP.
So the Friday night game, Skeens goes for 11 Ks, his 7th win on the year. Tommy White hits the grand slam. Saturday, Ty Floyd goes 8 1/3, 112 pitches, did outstanding. Dylan Cruz had 2 home runs. He scored 66 runs on the year. Tommy White also has 66 RBIs. I don't think that's a coincidence, folks. Dylan Cruz gets home base and Tommy White hits him in, and that's how this team has. That's the straw that kind of stirs the drink. You did see Trey Morgan hit right in the hand Sunday, and he was kind of wincing every time he caught the ball or took another swing. So, dealing with a lot of nicks and bruises, but certainly when this team is healthy, the most potent lineup in college baseball.
If there is a second life, I'm going to come back, not as a sportscaster, but as a weatherman. They are wrong all the time, and there are no repercussions. And also an umpire. The balls and strikes on a daily and weekly basis has been atrocious. And I'm talking about, and I don't know about high school because you check that out, but college and MLB, this strike zone. And Thatcher Hurd's a perfect example. I'm watching him. He's got a great pitch at 2-2. Should have been called a strike. They call it a ball. He walks the next guy with a fourth pitch, a ball, then gives up a 2-run dinger or a bases loaded double to give up 2 runs. You've got to be mentally strong because this umpiring is atrocious. And, if it's not broke, why do you try to fix it? The other thing, college football. Now, baseball needed speed bumps. You and I agree.
Absolutely.
But college football, now, unless it's the last 2 minutes of half, unless it's the last 2 minutes of the game, they're not going to stop the clock on a first down. And so we're and nobody knows right now, but everybody is estimating 8 to 10 plays that you are going to take away. How about this? How about they get their act together and have a time limit on replays? How about they get their act together and limit CBS from running so many commercials? Now, one other tidbit. What are you going to do when you see fake injuries? That's coming to the party. Lane Kiffin's going to tell his D lineman, hey, lay down on the ground. Right. You can't snap it if the guy's laying on the ground or if you don't have defensive substitutions. But I thought that was a little bit of a reach from the no clue at all NCAA. But as we know, They want to tweak it, and we'll see if it's better. But Kelly was asked about it. He says it puts more emphasis the 2 minutes before halftime and the 2 minutes at the end of the game. Also, I think you're going to see more emphasis on the 2-minute drill, and you're going to see more emphasis on 2-point plays. And, oh, by the way, nobody's going to forget the 2-point play LSU had against Alabama in football.
And Coach Ryan Kelly actually alluded to that exact 2-point conversion in the press conference right in the beginning as a joke. I know people got it, but I thought it would get more laughs in the press room than it did. We'll let you guys hear from Coach Brian Kelly later on in this program. But first, we'll let you guys hear from the head coach of the baseball team. Here is Coach Jay Johnson talking about the sweep against Ole Miss, his team developing, and how they've been able to mesh and have so much fun this year. It's been a special group, and Coach Jay Johnson wants you to appreciate it while it's going on. Here is the head coach on Tigers Roar.
It's really hard to cultivate this culture where you're talking about every game being a playoff game. You know what I mean? And then say, hey, we're going to rest. At the same time, sometimes you have to pay attention to those types of things. This team has overcome a lot of adversity relative to health. And we can. He was out for 3 games, early in the season, and then could only DH for a while. And we were able to withstand that pretty good, because of depth. And what about yesterday? Braden Joubert made 2 great plays at third base. Josh Pearson, I don't think got any hits, but he hit 2 rockets and took really quality at bats behind the best player in the universe, and that matters a lot. And turned the lineup over just enough to get us to the point where we got to in the 9th inning. So really pleased with Braden stepping in and doing that. Really pleased with Josh. So that was something I wanted to make sure I mentioned today.
What's your takeaway from the weekend?
Awesome. Yeah, awesome weekend. I think Friday and Saturday were 2 of our better games of the year. We played great, in every phase. We executed exactly what we wanted to do offensively and from the mound. Sunday, not so much. We could kind of gut through it a little bit. I thought JT Quinn threw the ball well. We had to kind of grind through that. We made 2 base running mistakes, which kind of thwarted some of the offensive momentum. I think defensively we played fine, and pitching-wise, they did a good job. They don't have to be perfect. That's 2 game 3s in a row where we've won 7-6. And, there was some big outs in there, and it's a small field and an offensive field, and thank God, because we had a grand slam, and a 3-run homer that were crucial in us winning those games. But you're going to have to live through, giving up a damage hit or an extra base hit once in a while. And I think Alderman's up there in the top in the country in homers. Uttermark hadn't played a whole lot, and Javen struck him out first time, but he looks like he's going to be a good player and has a lot of power. So proud of the rest of the guys for just kind of overcoming all that.
Ty and Christian, 1 walk between the 2 of them.
Yeah, phenomenal. Yeah, phenomenal job by those guys. I kind of see it coming with Ty. I think everybody needs to keep in mind he's undefeated. The guy's undefeated, the guy that we're talking about. But he's got a lot of ability and has pitched well at times, so he set a high bar for himself, and he definitely met that bar on Saturday. And then Christian was great. We talked about this last week also. I think a key part in yesterday's game was getting the first inning only to be a 1-run inning. Because you got the first 2 guys on, and you got some really good hitters, coming up. That's a big one. And then he did it again in the second, and then really took over from there. I thought he was outstanding, and really deserved to kind of keep going, and he really put us in position to win.
Overcoming and bouncing back, is that kind of the story of this team right now?
Yeah. I'd be interested to see how many teams in the country have not lost 2 games in a row this year. I know one, but I think it'd be hard to find another one. So yes, that is. Yeah, absolutely.
The first midweek loss last week, how do you kind of make sure that doesn't happen again this week?
Credit. Well, we're in a little better position on the mound than we were last week. No question about that. And that's a direct credit to Paul and to Ty and to Christian for getting deeper into the game. So that matters. So I feel much better about that. And it comes at a time of the year where anytime you can get some guys a rest or only throw once in a week or lower their pitch count out of the bullpen, that helps. So I think that's probably the most important part. We, like I alluded to earlier, of treating every game like a playoff game. We actually have a team challenge going on with our midweeks right now, and so we're actually like treating it like a regional, and so we're in an elimination game is how we're looking at it. And we did not try to win the game last week or anything like that. We got beat by a team that played really good, that emptied the tank against us, their best reliever and their Friday starter, and they couldn't pitch their best reliever this weekend, and their Friday starter gave up 8 runs, and they lost. So it's I've been there, though. I've been that mid-major coach. When you're on the road and you're playing a top 5 team, you go for it. And I just think we're in a better position going into tomorrow than we were last week. And the SEC will do that to you sometimes.
Trubinsky, his 4th year here.
Yeah.
Right.
So awesome. Yeah.
When you got a veteran like that who accepts his responsibility and has that kind of moment, just your thoughts?
It's one of the highlights of the season for me. Obviously the magnitude of the win. The importance of that. But again, what we see, I believe, every day has value, and he has continued to get better. It's crazy. You might not think of that as a 4th-year guy that's maybe a reserve player on this team, but he's continued to get better. I mean, I watch every swing and batting practice every single day that he's taken, and I felt like he was earning more opportunities, and we gave him, I think he pinch hit 3 times last weekend. I totally planned to start him in that second game going into the weekend, and I told him he was going to, play tomorrow night, regardless of what happened. So really happy for him. I think the teammate part of it with him has been awesome, because he's probably a pro player too. But this is it's a good roster right now, and I expect him to make a massive contribution down the stretch. And I couldn't be happier with how him and Alex played this weekend, both defensively and offensively. They did a great job.
Fans seem to really enjoy your reaction, throwing your hands up and really enjoying the moment and everything. Those are the kind of moments you coach.
Oh, it was awesome. Yeah, it was awesome. I would, that was a important, they're all important games, but an important series. And, I always feel the best teams find a way to win the tough ones. And, this team's undefeated in 1-run games. And usually to win those, you need a good bullpen, and we got just enough out of the bullpen. And you need somebody to get a big hit, and the hits don't come any bigger than that. And I love seeing all of them be successful, but kind of the journey with him, since we got here. He's been hurt a lot, he essentially missed the fall, and it puts you behind the 8 ball, with this roster, and it's not his fault. It's just the way that it is. And so for him to stick with it, improve, be as team oriented as he is. There's a lot of teammates real happy for him to come through, and happy for our team, because that was a big win. It's a national champion sweep on the road. It's a big deal. I think Bill said 1996 was the last time LSU had swept there, and so it's a good accomplishment for our guys.
This is actually the 2nd year in a row you swept the defending champs at their place, Mississippi State, the year before. Is it just another series win, or can you get a little more value out of it than that?
Well, they all count the same in terms of the immediate and the standings. And I honestly don't look at the series thing as much, but the games, and all games have equal value. With that being said, it's one of the most consistent programs in college baseball. They're the national champion. They're in a super regional every year. Beyond, the worthy opponent. And so when you get these, we're trying to have a great season, but we're trying to build a program too, and work our way back to the top. And so yeah, they matter a lot in terms of all of those things. And we were in position to win the SEC West last year, with a depleted staff and first-year team and all that type of stuff, and they took that from us, and got hot and won the national title. So yeah, it matters a lot in those regards. Yeah.
Hayden was talking about how he's just having fun this year. I think Cade Beloso and Gavin Dugas have also expressed that. That kind of culture among your older guys. Can you explain where that might come from and how that trickles into the dugout? Yeah,
I think all 3 of them are from Louisiana. We've talked about that before. They have a lot of pride in this place. They have a lot of pride in their performance. All of them had made contributions earlier in their career. Right now, there's just more good players in the program probably than the last couple years. And they didn't run away from it. Like, Hayden could have gone in the transfer portal. You know, he didn't. You know what I mean? And he's remained a great teammate. And I've seen him celebrate other people's success. And, you know, Cade, same thing. I mean, had Tommy not gotten hurt where he could only DH, Cade would have had a ton more at-bats the first 4 weeks of the season. It just was really hard to navigate all those pieces. But they just didn't, there's no drama to it. You know, and Gavin, you know, was he going to be able to play? Was he not going to? I mean, the guy worked so hard to get back. And it's just like, those guys are so easy to get behind. And, you know, we have just a kind of a saying is like, you'll always place the needs of the team above your own. And that's borderline impossible nowadays with the climate of society and the internet and all of those things. It's happening here right now. And so, like, for me, those guys are easy to get behind. This should be the easiest team to get behind because they're playing for each other. And, you know, the having fun part of it, it's like, hey man, this is a really cool time, you know, and you never have perspective of that while you're in it. So we're trying to help the players understand that what is actually happening right now is really special, and they're living in that right now, and that's why you're seeing a pretty consistent performance. And those guys, those three old players, they deserve a lot of credit for that.
That was head coach Jay Johnson, the number 1 LSU Tigers, coming off of a sweep of the defending national champion Ole Miss Rebels. But man, we'll take another quick break. We'll come back, talk some LSU football. Their spring game was this past weekend. We have some tape from Brian Kelly. Also have some highlights to show you guys. Before we take a break, don't forget, check out our YouTube page at youtube.com/Pelican Broadcasting. While you're at the page, click the like button. Click subscribe if you haven't done so already. We truly appreciate it. Everything you want to see from Tigers Roar is already archived on YouTube, so go check it out, youtube.com/Pelican Broadcasting. Quick break. We'll be right back. You are watching Tigers Roar.
Tremonti's has meat. Tremonti's has seafood. Tremonti's has much more. Tailgating and home gating platters. Huge wine and liquor selection. Beer and all the spices you need. Chairman Reserve and Wagyu meats. Ribeye rolls, shrimp rolls, kebabs. 20 flavors of sausage for the grill. Daily lunch specials and game processing. On-site catering also available. Good meat ain't cheap and cheap meat ain't good. Visit Tremonti's.com.
The season of inspiration is the perfect time to discover the enhanced Mazda CX-5, named a 2022 IIHS Safety Pick Plus Award winner, its highest safety award honor. Choose from over 45 CX-5s available at Baton Rouge's Mazda dealer, Team Mazda on Airline.
Hey everybody, I'm Kevin Gallagher. This is Roy Fletcher. We hope you'll join us for Fletch Nation, especially if you like talking politics.
Hey, come and join us. We'll give you the information, and then we'll give you the context. And by the way, we'll give you fun, too.
Lots of fun. We hit the local races, the state. We even look at what's going on all across America. And by the way, this space is available. If you'd like to talk about advertising, send your emails to Roy Fletcher at royfletcher.com and join us every week here on the Pelican for Fletch Nation. Caught spiders. Premier Pest Services.
Every great story starts with the rush of thrilling gaming action. Handcrafted flavors, eager to please. Getaways for some well-deserved me time. And rewards worth bragging about. If it's a story worth telling, it starts at La Berge Baton Rouge. What's your story?
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Treads & Care Tire Company announces its new location on Hooper Road in Central. Locally owned for 50 years, Treads & Care is known for quality automotive repair with top-notch customer service. Treads & Care offers the convenience of shuttle service and pickup and delivery of your vehicle. You can also enjoy the comfortable customer area, complete with workstations, high-speed internet, and a complimentary coffee bar.
I'd like to invite you to come out and see us at our new location in Central.
Treads & Care, the tires you need and the service you want.
We continue here on Tigers Roar. Jonathan Poche with the Bud Man, Buddy Songy from Old School Barbecue. Come check it out. Great food at old school prices. 10655 Coursey Boulevard. We're talking some LSU football. The spring game was this past weekend. Well, it was kind of a spring game. It was more like situational football. The 15th practice of the spring. Coach Brian Kelly needed to move over a couple of guys from the defensive side of the ball to the offensive line just so they could practice. But you did get to see some things. Jaden Daniel, 10s for 11. Looked pretty good in the passing game. Garrett Nussmeier also looked good. LSU wide receivers and LSU defense also had some shining moments. A lot of new faces on that defense, Bud, man. But, Harold Perkins was certainly looking good. Coach Brian Kelly was certainly praising the young sophomore's play. So he's easily to coach, and he's learning a lot of technique. And you saw the raw talent last year, so huge expectations for Harold Perkins.
Look, JP and I were talking during the break. I think LSU, most people think because of what is coming back and what they achieved last year, Tigers are going to be preseason 10. Now, whether it's 7, 8, or 9, nobody knows. Florida State's going to be right up there. So you got a blockbuster game, which LSU lost because of the kicking game last year in Orlando. And LSU ended the season against Purdue there. So familiar turf and site. Look, bottom line is this. Here are the big questions I think we all want to know. Can Jaden Daniels successfully throw the football down the field, hit you with the deep pass, go vertical, and we know he can run. We know when he tucks it, he's as fast as anybody in the quarterback room. We also know that Garrett Nussmeier can throw the football. So you got two excellent ones at quarterback. Yep. Need some breakaway players at running back. Only had Noah Kane and Trey Holly. Only 7 offensive linemen on scholarship, so you had to move some people around in the twos. Yep. And some backup D linemen, Parashan and others that perform well. You mentioned Perkins. Next to him, Omar Spates. Wears number 1. Perkins is wearing 4 this year. Greg Penn, don't forget about him. And how about the true freshman, Whit Weeks, the brother of Wes Weeks, takes one to the house. Yep. But I must say, corner and safety is going to be a work in progress. And they're not ready to kick off and make field goals and PATs right now. A little shaky with the kicking game. Got plenty of time to get that shored up. But I think for the most part, and who would have thunk it? 32-32 tie. Of course, Brian Kelly doesn't want to show much, but most people thought, considering the injuries and what talent he had available, ended up being a nice spring game for those that attended.
We do have some B-roll, some highlights from the spring game. We'll actually try to go ahead and roll that to continue the conversation. One guy that Coach Brian Kelly really did highlight, a transfer coming in, another new face, Ovi Ogofu. Yeah. A guy that he had at Notre Dame, then he transferred to Texas. Now he's here at LSU. Big body, put on quite a lot of muscle since the last time Coach Brian Kelly had him in the program. But there you see the outstanding catch and run by Kyron Lacey. While they're talking to big Marcus Spears on the field, what a time for what a great catch and run. And here's exactly what you want. Jaden Daniels, second read, pushes the ball down the field.
One-handed catch.
One-handed catch, just like OBJ. Breaks the tackle, makes it all the way down to the end zone. Right there, should have been a tackle by the safety, no doubt. Coach Brian Kelly noticed that, marked it down on his charts. But as you mentioned, the DB position is going to be a work in progress for LSU this season.
Hey, and after the catch, folks, did you see it? They did a little bit of the Angel Reese TikTok dance. A lot of celebrations. But Kyron Lacey, Malik Neighbors, and Brian Thomas Jr., you're starting 3. Here's Whit Weeks. Look good in space, and that's a kid that's going to play on special teams and get some reps as a backup linebacker.
Yeah, cool moment for the freshman in the spring game with the pick 6. Did show some good versatility with the wheels after he caught the ball. So, he's going to find his way onto the field with some special teams for sure. Wearing that familiar number 40.
Yeah, he's wearing Harold Perkins' number, so you know that the guy is not shy. Right. You mentioned Ovi Ogofu. who is going to wear 17, and Braden Swinson is wearing 13. They've got some Jack linebackers, but Jackson Howard is a true freshman, number 11. Here is Weeks again. Bats it up, catches it, and watch this little move very seamlessly as he is pretty smooth. That guy's going to play first game on special teams and maybe in a backup role.
So, Bud, man, I know you watched the whole spring game. We're talking to you about the running backs. John Emery gets excused for academic reasons. Coach Brian Kelly said, there is a pathway back for him to get to the team and play this fall, but he has to take care of business for academics. They're putting academics first priority, as Coach Brian Kelly said in his press conference. But talk about the running backs. We just see out of Noah Kane and company.
Noah Kane has lost a little bit of weight, got a little more shifty, and I said this and I believe it. Noah Kane, you talk about him more after the game than you do before. He had double-digit touchdowns rushing last year. Trey Holly is a true freshman. Poor man's Clyde Edwards-Helaire wearing 25. Of course, Josh Williams, 27, is going to come in as a senior and be in the mix. Armani Goodwin, can you keep him healthy? And Caleb Jackson is a guy that is coming in from Liberty High, and we know that Caleb is 5'11", 222 pounds, ran a 10.600 meters. So, but I still think you need a bell cow running back that can take it to the house on any particular play.
You already mentioned Omar Spates, but Coach Brian Kelly couldn't stop shouting his praises. A guy's going to come in and fill a huge need for LSU and contribute right away.
Yeah, looking for some depth at corner and safety, as we said.
Hey, Marty.
Lo and behold, Marty?
Hey, Marty. We got a little technical difficulty with
that.
that.
Let's see if we can get
Let's
that
see
straight.
What we got going on.
Anyway, Javion Toviano is one of those early enrollees that you're going to see, number 25. He's going to be a box safety. Sage Ryan, they've been talking him up, didn't make a tackle in the spring game. Greg Brooks, of course, is an undersized safety. Major Burns has been hurt.
Game.
So,
game.
Deuce Chestnut's a corner that's been sitting out. I think that you wouldn't be shocked to see a corner, a safety, a running back coming in via the transfer portal, which, by the way, we're taping on April 25th. Transfer portal ends April the 30th. You've got to put your name in the hopper if you're going to play somewhere else. You don't have to say the destination of the school, but you got to put your name in the transfer portal by Sunday. Some insiders at LSU think maybe 2 or 3 will do that at LSU, but they could pick up another 3 or 4 players before the start of the season.
Well, I keep hearing Coach Brian Kelly in the background, so we'll actually start to go ahead and roll that press conference for us. Here is head coach of the LSU football team talking about his spring practices in the spring game. Here is head coach Brian Kelly.
I would have went for 2. It was what we had hoped it to be, in a sense that, as you saw, we tried to do some situational work and some special teams that allowed us to shorten the format a little bit, because we, as you know, we're thin on the offensive line. And I told that second group in particular, Woodward and Bush that moved over from defense to offense, that we wouldn't have been able to have the kind of spring unless they, stepped in and moved their positions, and they got better for us. So it made for a really good spring opportunity for us today, because they were competitive, and it allowed us to get a lot of guys some work in a game-like format. So pleased with the outcome. First and foremost, we got out of it clean, no injuries, which is always important as you look at the overall impact of a game like this. And then we had some guys step up and make plays. Obviously the very first offensive possession with Lacey being very dynamic with the football in his hands adds to, a mix of receivers that, can be obviously very good for us in the SEC. I thought the quarterback was, and Daniels was very efficient, played very well. I thought Garrett Nussmeier equally as efficient. and at times doesn't have the same protection that Jaden does. And given those circumstances, you can make the case that he was equally, if not better, in some instances. So pleased with the quarterbacks. And again, defensively, guys were flashing. Obviously Perkins, Omar Spate was outstanding. He gives us the kind of production that we're looking for. I thought we got strong play across the board. I think our safety play needs to continue to get better at the second level. We missed some tackles, but all in all, a good day out there today for us to evaluate and take a step forward. So with that, I'll open up to questions.
If you have a question, raise your hand. We'll get a mic to you.
Yeah, Coach, you mentioned Kyron Lacey. Just what did you learn, I guess, a little bit about some of these weapons that you're going to be able to really rely on come fall?
Yeah, so Kyron, really, the work that he's been doing is much more about, consistent approach in practice. And, I think we're starting to see how that's translating to performance. He was... I think at times trying to find himself relative to where he fit, and I think he's comfortable in where he is in our rotation now, and his practice work ethic has been consistent, and we can see it in terms of the way he's playing.
Bobby?
You mentioned that the offensive line's a little thin right now, but what did you think of the performance of the new defensive line guys?
I thought there were some, really positive things, right? Ovia Agufu is a really good addition, certainly. I think he, we had, probably a sack on each side against our right tackle and our left tackle. I thought that... we were really clean inside. I thought we played, good, fundamentally sound football there. I mentioned Omar. I thought, his addition is going to be really big for us. He made a great tackle in space against a running back. That says a little bit about his versatility and what he can do in the box, out of the box. Perkins was really good. And, the plays that kind of stand out to me is we ran a counter, and he was able to slip the second puller and make a TFL play. And that requires training, and he's been really good picking those things up. So I think all in all, the development of Harold at the linebacker position, the addition of, Ovi and in particular Omar, those guys have been really big for us. And, they were the holes, if you will, that we were looking to fill with more mature players.
And Coach Keller right here in the front. Jaden's frame's gotten bigger now. He's up to 205. Yeah. These numbers are pretty fantastic today, 10 of 11. There's a lot of time from April to September, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of hype surrounding going into next season. Is that warranted? Is this going to be a major improvement from year one to year two with Jaden at quarterback?
We think he is committed to being the best quarterback in the country. We've seen that in his work ethic. I think he was on the verge of moving in that direction throughout last season. His play kind of dictated that until he got injured. And I think he's picked up where he left off last year, physically getting bigger and stronger, leading our offense, leading our entire team. He's been a leader. So I don't think there's any reason why not to think he would be, the next version of that. And that means not only, one of many good quarterbacks in the SEC, but one of the best quarterbacks in the country.
Yeah.
Coach, physically you got to be really good to win this league. Do you think, is it too premature to say after a year that you're there, or do you think you're close?
Well, I think we're getting closer to that. I think, clearly the area of concern for us is in depth. We're not at 85 scholarship players yet. We're below that line. So,
2 or 3 key injuries puts us in a very difficult position. We should be able in the SEC West to sustain some key injuries to key players. I don't believe we're at that point yet. If we, knock on wood, stay injury free and continue to develop, we're going to be fine. But that's not where you want to be in this league. You have to, I think, go into a season and expect to lose some key players and still win this league. So I think that's probably our Achilles heel, if you will, is that we're still not at 85 scholarship players, and it's still going to require us to keep this team injury-free.
Brian, just what do you make of all the new cornerbacks that you have this spring, where that competition stands right now as you go into the summer, and what you saw out of them today?
Yeah, we saw some good things, clearly, but it's work in progress for all of those guys in terms of, where they need to get to for the fall. J.K. and Denver and Alexander, all 3 of them are still in that process for us in terms of weight room, in terms of the defense itself, and just a consistency of doing it at a high level. They're not there yet. We believe they can get there. We saw glimpses of it today. We saw glimpses of LaTerrence, his play today. So I just think that we're not there yet. We think we've got some guys that are capable of playing at a high level, but there's still work to be done.
John? Coach, if I could ask 2 quick ones. The kicking game, are there some things to sort out there between Ramos and Dibert in terms of who's going to kick? And second, is there any chance that John Emery returns to the team and plays this fall?
We have not ruled out John Emery for returning. I think I've made it pretty clear that John has a path back, but it's one that is really dictated by what he does academically. So, look, we have not made any misleading statements. We love him, but we're putting academics first and foremost, and he's got to take care of that first.
That was head coach Brian Kelly here on Tigers Roar. The last comments you heard, we're talking about the running back John Emery and how Coach Kelly puts academics first. And, but, man, that is a change from what we've seen in recent history at LSU. I mean, a guy who wants to graduate champions, emphasis on graduate, student athlete, academics first. And John Emery just man, you feel bad for the kid who stuck around the program for a long time. He had all the talent in the world coming out of high school and just couldn't put it all together. Had injuries, and now he's struggling in the classroom. You feel bad for the kid, but you don't sacrifice, the one for the good of the many.
Well, you have to accrue X amount of hours as you go through your college career, and I think that is the crux of the situation. Of course, by law, he cannot talk about his medical situation or his academic situation. But I was shaking my head. You can't depend on John Emery. Number one, he's still got fumbleitis. Got to hold on to the football. Number two, what kind of shape's he going to be in? And number three, can he get it together? I think he might have to graduate to be eligible, and so we'll see what happens there. But look, I would not be shocked once again to see a corner, a safety, and a running back, and certainly another offensive lineman. Mason Lunford is coming over from Maryland. He's a big ugly. Lance Hurd, DJ Chester, Paul Mubinga, other guys, they're going to have a lot more. I looked at it, about 28 to 30 more players coming in. So really, you're not going to get a chance to see what LSU is really like until the August drills. And as we know, first weekend in September on that Sunday night, LSU and Florida State. Going to be something special.
Coach Brian Kelly said the team's one Achilles heel, if you will, is they are, still at 65 scholarship players, not at 85. They still got to get to that number. So depth is really what they're concerned about. A few key injuries, knock on wood, for LSU. But if they can stay healthy, Coach Brian Kelly thinks that this team can absolutely compete in the West, and not only in the West, win the SEC and then move forward to the playoffs. So hope for the best for the injury bug to stay away from LSU. Certainly in those key positions, DB is going to be a struggle, a work in progress as we talked about. But lots of time between now and September when they kick off against Florida State. Florida State obviously gearing up for the game. It's a big game for them too. They have aspirations for this next year, so it'll be a fun one come September in Orlando. We're going to take our last break of this Tigers Roar. We'll come back, talk some LSU softball real quick, also some NFL draft. Don't go anywhere. You don't want to miss it. You're watching Tigers Roar. Hiya.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hi gang, Clarence Buggs here, inviting you to come by Old School Barbecue, 10655 Coursey Boulevard, where we tape the show live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 11 o'clock. Come by and feast on news, sports, current events, love of God and country, and lots of common sense, along with some of the best barbecue anywhere on the planet. 10655 Coursey Boulevard, Old School Barbecue, home of the Clarence Buggs Show.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystonecountryClub.com.
You could be driving a...
Now's the time to save on new Accords during Happy Honda Days at Team Honda of Acadiana. Get our lowest prices and biggest savings on our largest selection of Accords this year. Hurry in and save during Happy Honda Days at Team Honda of Acadiana, I-49 just south of Opelousas.
As Clarence Buggs would say, we're trying to put a pretty little bow on this episode of Tigers Roar. Our last time, we'll talk some LSU softball. Coach Beth Serena's squad, 37-11, 10-8 in the SEC. Just swept Mississippi State this past weekend. It was a weekend that was supposed to honor the cancer survivors in the Baton Rouge area. Yeah. So it was a great deal. Coach Beth Serena's team gets the sweep. Of course, it was a shortened game on Sunday because they had the 8-run lead. And sweeping Mississippi State's great. Two more series before SEC tournament. Of course, they play Alabama at Bama. Then they'll host Georgia. What do you expect for Coach Beth Serena's team?
LSU softball 6 with the RPI. They have used more pitchers. I guess the big thing, clutch hitting. Good to see Taylor Pleasance coming back. She was playing earlier, JP, and she was actually having to hit as a slapper. Mm-hmm. We know she's got long ball potential, had 8 home runs earlier in the year. Just got to peak at the right time, but once again, SEC so good. Yep. Do they have enough of the clutch hitting, I think will be the question answered down the stretch. But congrats to Coach Serena and all of the victories that she's accrued. Yep. Got a really, really good class coming in, including a hard-throwing lefty, which LSU's really never had as a softball pitcher. So we'll wait to see. But when Kim Mulkey wins it, oh, by the way, I'm going to make this prediction. Haley Van Lith will be an LSU Tiger. Not sure when they will announce it, but the Lady Tigers are recruiting lights out, and they are not done. They are going to be preseason 1, 2, or 3. And as we know, it kind of puts pressure on those other coaches in the spring when you see what Coach Mulkey did in year 2.
SEC softball tournament is May 9th through the 13th in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Also, NFL draft is this week as we tape here on the 25th of April. Thursday it starts. Bud, man, first round, obviously a big deal. Starts at 7 p.m. Of course, round 2 and 3 is on Friday at 6. Then rounds 4 through 7, Saturday. I'll be at the Saints facility. They have a crawfish cook-off boil at the facility. I'm going to go check it out. Of course, that starts at 11 a.m. on Saturday.
29 in the first round. Look, they could use a running back. They could use a D lineman. We'll see what happens there. Dennis Allen. Suffice to say, he's got a little pressure in year 2.
Oh, certainly. The seat has not cooled off from last season. Carolina's at 1. You assume they're going to try to get their quarterback of their future. The Falcons are at 8. Tampa Bay's at 19. The Bengals right in front of the Saints at 28. The Saints at 29. Of course, the Philadelphia Eagles get the 10th pick from the Saints because they traded their first-round pick last year to get Trevor Penning, who started one game for the Saints, but that's another story. At 29, what do you see the Saints getting? Best player available?
Yeah, best player available. Look, if Gibbs from Alabama, the running back, I would love to see them take him. They need another running back, and we don't know if there's going to be suspensions, games that miss with Alvin Kamara.
Right.
Kamara, of course, as we know, had a problem in Vegas a couple years ago. But I want to give them a chance, but over and under 9. So they go 9 and 8 right on the number. But we'll see. Derek Carr, I think, is going to be a little more consistent than Andy was at quarterback.
Yeah, I agree. Saints need help at a few positions. Defensive line makes a lot of sense to me. They had to revamp the whole room. Did bring in some veterans to where they can take best player available, but I still think Dennis Allen, a defensive-minded coach, is going to try to revamp that pass rush, which is pretty non-existent as Cam Jordan's production has continued to fall off as he gets up there in age. You lose Omanyata, you bring back Shai Tuttle. That's like the only guy you bring back. Lots of questions on the board. Tight end, another position of need for the Saints. So best player available, I agree, at 29. If they don't try to move up, which Mickey Loomis has been very aggressive in these last few drafts in moving up in that first round in particular. So we'll see. It all goes down Thursday. Kansas City, Missouri is where the draft will be held this year. Do you like how they're moving it around these days?
Yeah, I think it's always special. And, of course, my highlight is when we see the red-nosed Roger Goodell get booed. By the way, how cool was it? Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and other former Tigers coming back. You know, Kelly told the media Joe Burrow's coming. Then he kind of deadpan. No, he's not really. But he did. And this is another sign. And I guess you could say finger pointing. These LSU former players, even though they didn't play with Brian Kelly, and so he's done a good job with the former players. But Burrow, by the way, is going to make a ton of money when he gets his deal next year.
That's right. Jalen Hurts just signed a record-breaking contract extension, 5 years, $255 million. That's $51 million a year. If you're doing the math at home, Joe Burrow expected to surpass that contract when he signs his.
$179 million guaranteed, and folks, it's monopoly money. None of us out there. We hope that all of you have had a good Easter. Mother's Day coming up in the month of May, and we'll do again as we recap LSU sports next Tuesday.
LSU versus Nicholls tonight at the Box. LSU trying to handle this midweek game. They know Nicholls State's a pretty good team, but they beat them 12-2 last time they faced them. Second time they played Nicholls this season. Certainly appreciate you tuning into this episode of Tigers Roar. For the Bud Man, I'm Jonathan Poche. I want to thank Marty, our floor director, and 18 the truck doing a great job. Don't forget, check out our YouTube page at youtube.com/Pelican Broadcasting. We'll see you next time right here on Tigers Roar.